first thing we have to make sure that we're careful of is that we get the Python syntax correct. So in any programming language that you use, you have to use the correct syntax. Here you'll see that lowercase print, open brackets, speech marks, either double or single, it doesn't really matter as long as they're the same on both sides, and a close bracket. That will work. It will output the word hello to the shell. Now, these won't work. Although we've got the lowercase print, we haven't got the bracket or either of the single speech marks or double speech marks or the close bracket, so we won't see the word hello in the shell. The next one down looks a lot closer, but you'll see the space between print and the open bracket, the lack of speech marks, and therefore it won't come out. Python is also case sensitive, guys, so the lowercase print is vitally important. You need to make sure that you have the lowercase print, because it won't print the word hello to the screen or output it if it's in capitals. Luckily for us, we've got a brilliant GUI interface that will actually show you and try and help you through that one. So for example, in here we can see the print command is in purple. That's showing you that Python recognizes it. It can see that it's going to work as something, as an instruction, and it's not capitalized. It would not show up in purple if it was capitalized. You'll see here that we've given the single speech marks and it's gone green. It will do the exact same thing if it was a double speech marks as well. You'll also notice the extra colour of orange. Okay, so this one's just in case you have a loop, a bit like your forevers or your repeats when you were using Scratch. This is also very similar to the if-else statement. There you go, see it's in orange like the control structures that we had. The print command works exactly the same way as the hello world one. They will try and colour coordinate it to make sure it's as easy as possible for us to make sure that we can check as we go. So for example, if we did a hashtag first, we get a comment. This will not be run by the shell, it does absolutely nothing, but if we don't have the hashtag in front of it, you'll see it starts picking up keywords in that orange colour, or if we started typing out the word print in there as well, it would come up in purple. If we put the hashtag in front, it becomes a comment. This will become very useful to us as we start to develop our code. So for example, we could use a comment feature to just put a title at the top of it, or while you're in lessons, potentially put your name at the top to make sure that when it prints out, you've got a copy with your name on straight away. Now, it's very useful to us to put the title right at the top and comment as we go to make sure we understand the program later when we come to review it or revise from it or use it for something else. So we're going to make sure that we get this print syntax working first off, and we can press F5 to check our program. Now if you haven't already saved it, the GUI interface will try and get you to do it for you and prompt you for it. So save it along and you'll see the word welcome has been output to the shell, which is exactly what we wanted. Now to make our welcome program a little bit more user friendly, we're going to use a new command called input. Now anything we put in speech marks inside the input command will be our question. It's what we're asking the person that's using that computer to do. So if I press F5 again, we'll save it and it'll now ask me and prompt me for my name. You'll see it's blinking and actually waiting for something, so if I type in my name here, there we go, all it's done is taken my input from me. Now we can make it a bit more useful, we can make this program a little bit better. First off, we can make sure there's a space before the name, because you know how picky I am with that sort of stuff. Save it, check it again, and you'll see that we've now got a gap between the question mark and where I start typing. So that one little bit of space makes all the difference for that bit. Now we're going to use a variable to make sure that we actually store that information, but first off I just want to say, very nice to meet me, thank you very much. But if we press F5 again, save it again, type in my name again, you'll see a lot of this during this video, I'm sorry. Here we go, and it's very nice to meet me, brilliant, it's a little bit friendlier. So let's get on to using that variable. Now the information that I want to store is actually the person's name, and whenever I've got a variable, a bit like when we used score or time or countdown within Scratch, I can just type the name of it right at the top. So I want to store the person's name, so I'm going to call it name. I'm going to use the equals and a couple of speech marks just to make sure that the program's happy, that it knows that I want to store something there. It knows what I'm using, and I just want to check that it doesn't affect the running of the rest of my program. Brilliant, it doesn't, fantastic. So we want to store that input as the name. So if I type name in front of this input and press an equal sign, you can now see that I'm going to store whatever the person inputs into that variable name. It's not going to affect my program at the moment, it's going to do nothing to the running, but it's always nice to check. So I've now stored this variable. I want to make sure I use it in a very nice way, and to make my program a little bit more user friendly, I'm going to have that last sentence right at the end say, "It's very nice to meet you, Miss Marshall." So I'm going to put in a comma right at the end of the speech marks and type in the variable name. Now you'll notice I haven't put speech marks single or double around that word name. It's a variable, it doesn't need them. If it was something like a comment or an extra piece of speech or just some text that I wanted to type in, there you go, I would need those speech marks about it. But because it's a variable name, I don't. Now it doesn't stop you from going back, adding something to the end of it, so I can still use that comma, use speech marks, and add a quick "enjoy your day" or "enjoy your stay," or some kind of text that just finishes that sentence off. One final check. There we go. And it's a little bit politer than just saying "welcome," which is what our first program did. So that's our welcome program working as intended. The one thing we should really do is go back and have a look at these comments. It's always useful to have them, although I'm going to go a bit overload at the moment, on any line that you've done new that day, or anything that you think needs explaining, or anything that you want to prove that you know how to do. So in this case we've got a comment that says this name equals, and speech marks makes the variable name to store the name of the person, so the person that's using the program at the time. And it's really up to you what you put in these comments, but it should be something that either explains what's happening in the code beforehand, and there we have it, our welcome program working exactly how we wanted to, as well as polite and commented. Your challenge is to extend your welcome program to ask, store and repeat the name of the user's favourite band, food, subject, whichever one you actually want them to collect.